I'm telling you, he doesn't live there. Please, hurry.
Officer, something wrong?
Sir, I got a report of a break-in. Need to see ID.
Look closely.
Commander Williams had worked his entire life for this. Years of grueling hours, countless sacrifices, and unwavering dedication had finally paid off. He had just purchased a beautiful two-story home in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Houston. Prescott Street was lined with manicured lawns and friendly faces, or so he thought. It seemed like the perfect place to settle down, a sanctuary after years of serving his city. Before we get started, where are you tuning in from? Drop your country or state in the comments. And hey, if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, now's the time, because what's about to happen next will leave you speechless, and you won't want to miss stories like this. The moving truck rumbled to a stop in front of his new house on a bright Saturday morning. Commander Williams, still in civilian clothes, directed the movers with a quiet authority honed from years on the force. He was eager to unpack, to arrange his belongings, to finally make this house a home. As boxes were unloaded, a figure emerged from the house next door. It was an older man, probably in his late 60s, with a stern face and a disapproving gaze. He stood on his porch, arms crossed, watching the activity with an intensity that made Commander Williams uneasy. He tried to offer a friendly wave, a gesture of goodwill, but the man simply stared back, his expression unchanged. Commander Williams brushed it off, attributing it to the man being reserved, or perhaps just not a morning person. He focused on the task at hand, directing the movers and occasionally carrying lighter boxes himself. He envisioned barbecues in the backyard, holidays spent with family, and the quiet evenings on the porch, sipping sweet tea. But the neighbor's presence remained a silent, looming cloud. Every time Commander Williams glanced over, the man was still there, watching. It was unnerving, a subtle but persistent feeling of being judged, of not belonging. Little did he know this was just the beginning of a confrontation that would shake the entire community. The afternoon wore on, and the house slowly started to resemble a home. Boxes were unpacked, furniture was arranged, and the scent of new beginnings filled the air. Commander Williams, exhausted but satisfied, took a short break on his porch, enjoying a bottle of water. Suddenly, a police car screeched to a halt in front of his house. Two officers emerged, their faces grim. Commander Williams instinctively stood up straighter. He knew the drill. "Sir, can we talk to you for a moment?" one of the officers asked, his tone neutral but firm. Commander Williams nodded, a knot forming in his stomach. "Of course, officers. What seems to be the problem?" "We received a call about a possible break-in. The caller stated that someone was moving things into this house who didn't belong here." Commander Williams' blood ran cold. He knew exactly who had made that call. He glanced at his neighbor's house and saw the man standing on his porch with a smug look on his face.
"Officers, I own this house," Commander Williams stated calmly, but with a clear edge in his voice. "I just moved in today." The officers exchanged glances. They were clearly uncomfortable. "Do you have any proof of ownership, sir?" Commander Williams sighed. He understood their position. They were responding to a call, doing their job. But the blatant prejudice behind that call stung. He went inside and retrieved the closing documents, the deed to the house, and his driver's license, all proving his ownership. He handed the documents to the officers, who examined them carefully. Their expressions softened as they realized the truth. They had been called to investigate a false alarm, a racially motivated act of harassment. "Sir, everything seems to be in order," one of the officers said, handing back the documents. "We apologize for the inconvenience." "I appreciate that, officers," Commander Williams replied, his voice tight. but I think you need to have a word with my neighbor." The officers approached the neighbor's house, their expressions serious. Commander Williams watched from his porch, his anger simmering beneath a veneer of professional calm. He knew this was not just about him, it was about the countless others who had faced similar acts of prejudice. He could hear snippets of the conversation between the officers and his neighbor. The neighbor's voice was loud and defensive, filled with justifications and denials. He claimed he was just being vigilant, protecting his neighborhood from crime. But the truth was clear. He saw a black man moving into the house next door and immediately assumed the worst. After a few minutes, the officers returned to their car, shaking their heads. "Sir, we've spoken to your neighbor," one of them said. "He claims it was a misunderstanding. We've advised him to be more careful in the future." "I appreciate that, officers," Commander Williams replied, his voice tight. "But I think you need to have a word with my neighbor." He walked over to the edge of his property, facing his neighbor's house. The man was still standing on his porch, his face flushed with anger. "I heard what you did," Commander Williams said, his voice low but firm. "You called the police on me because of the color of my skin." The man scoffed. "I was just being cautious. We don't want your kind moving into this neighborhood." Commander Williams felt a surge of anger, but he controlled it. He knew that reacting with anger would only validate the man's prejudices. "My kind?" Commander Williams said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "You mean a homeowner? A taxpayer? A man who has dedicated his life to serving this city?" He paused, letting his words sink in. "I am Commander Williams of the Houston Police Department, and I will not be intimidated by you or anyone else." The man's face paled. He clearly hadn't expected this. He stammered, trying to find an excuse, but the words caught in his throat. Commander Williams turned and walked back to his house, leaving the man speechless on his porch. He knew this was just the beginning of a long and difficult journey, but he was determined to stand his ground, to prove that he belonged in this neighborhood just as much as anyone else. News of the incident spread quickly through the neighborhood. Some residents were shocked and outraged, while others remained silent, unsure of what to say or do. But slowly, a wave of support began to build for Commander Williams. Neighbors started dropping by, offering words of encouragement and apologies for the actions of one man. They brought baked goods, flowers, and handwritten notes, expressing their solidarity and condemning the prejudice that had taken place. One neighbor, a young woman named Sarah, organized a community meeting to discuss the incident and find ways to promote diversity and inclusion in the neighborhood. The meeting was packed, with residents of all ages and backgrounds coming together to voice their concerns and offer solutions. Commander Williams attended the meeting, his heart filled with gratitude for the outpouring of support. He spoke about his experiences with racism, both on and off the job, and shared his vision for a community where everyone felt safe and welcome.
"We cannot let the actions of one person define us," he said, his voice resonating with passion. "We must stand together against prejudice and discrimination and build a community where everyone is treated with respect and dignity." The meeting ended with a renewed commitment to fight racism and promote unity in the neighborhood. Residents pledged to organize cultural events, support local businesses owned by people of color, and speak out against prejudice whenever they saw it. The days that followed were a mix of challenges and triumphs. Commander Williams continued to face subtle acts of hostility from his neighbor, but he refused to let it break him. He focused on building relationships with the other residents, participating in community events, and proving that he was a valuable member of the neighborhood. Slowly but surely, the atmosphere on Prescott Street began to change. The initial tension and suspicion gave way to a sense of understanding and acceptance. Neighbors who had once been hesitant to engage with Commander Williams now greeted him with warm smiles and friendly conversation. Even the neighbor who had called the police on him began to soften his stance. He never apologized directly, but he stopped the hostile stares and occasional insults. He even started to nod in acknowledgement when he saw Commander Williams outside. One day, Commander Williams was working in his yard when he noticed his neighbor struggling to carry a heavy bag of groceries. Without hesitation, he walked over and offered to help. The neighbor hesitated for a moment, then reluctantly accepted. As they walked to the neighbor's house, they engaged in a brief conversation about the weather and the upcoming holidays. It was a small gesture, but it represented a significant step towards healing and reconciliation. Commander Williams knew that true change would take time, but he was optimistic about the future. He had faced prejudice and discrimination throughout his life, but he had never let it define him. He was determined to use his experiences to make a difference, to inspire others to stand up against injustice, and to build a world where everyone could live with dignity and respect. Years passed, and Commander Williams became a beloved figure in the neighborhood. He continued to serve as a police officer, rising through the ranks and earning the respect of his colleagues and the community. He also became a mentor to young people, sharing his story and encouraging them to pursue their dreams regardless of the obstacles they faced. He volunteered his time at local schools, teaching children about diversity, tolerance, and the importance of standing up for what is right. The incident on Prescott Street became a symbol of the ongoing struggle for racial equality in America. It was a reminder that prejudice and discrimination still existed, even in the most unexpected places. But it was also a testament to the power of resilience, community, and the unwavering pursuit of justice. Commander Williams eventually retired from the police force, but he remained active in the community. He continued to advocate for social justice, speaking at rallies, writing articles, and working with organizations dedicated to fighting racism and promoting equality. He often reflected on his experiences on Prescott Street, remembering the initial shock and anger, but also the eventual healing and hope. He knew that the battle against prejudice was far from over, but he was proud of the progress that had been made. He had turned a moment of hate into an opportunity for growth, transforming a neighborhood marred by racism into a model of diversity and inclusion. His legacy lived on in the hearts and minds of those he had touched, inspiring them to create a better world for generations to come. Even in his later years, Commander Williams never stopped speaking out against injustice. He understood that silence in the face of hate was complicity, and he refused to be silent. He traveled the country sharing his story with audiences of all ages and backgrounds. He spoke about the importance of empathy, understanding, and the courage to challenge prejudice wherever it existed. He emphasized the importance of education, urging people to learn about the history of racism and its ongoing impact on society. He encouraged dialogue and conversation, creating spaces where people could share their perspectives and work together to find solutions. He also stressed the importance of hope, reminding people that change was possible, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges. He believed that by working together, we could create a world where everyone was treated with dignity and respect, regardless of their race, ethnicity, or background. Commander Williams passed away peacefully in his home on Prescott Street, surrounded by his family and friends. His life was a testament to the power of resilience,
courage and the unwavering pursuit of justice. His story continues to inspire people around the world, reminding us that even in the darkest of times, hope can prevail, and that the fight for equality is a fight worth fighting. The legacy of Commander Williams lives on, a beacon of light in a world still struggling with the shadows of prejudice and discrimination. He proved that one person can make a difference, and that by standing together, we can create a more just and equitable world for all. What are your thoughts on this story? Have you ever experienced or witnessed something similar? Share your experiences and insights in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories.